Good morning, ladies. I'm actually, I think, a couple minutes early. I am. But I'm just so excited about what I want to share with you today. Just so excited. I just can't hardly wait. So I'm going to let some of you join me, and then we're going to get started. For those of you that participated last week and wrote down your why, good for you. For those of you that didn't, I hope that you will write down your why. I think it is so important for us to really understand our why. Why do we do what we do? Why do we not do some of the things that we don't do? I think our why is so important to us when it comes to being successful, whether it's being successful at work or being successful in your marriage or being successful as a friend. I think our why is so important. Good morning, Heather. So glad you could join me. I don't want to start until the top of the hour. Like I said, I was just so excited about doing this. I just couldn't wait to join you all. This has got to be, I think, one of the most exciting ones. Hello, Miss Carol. I bet the weather in your neck of the woods is nice right now. It's humid here. And I should tell you, I got a summer house in Maine with a goal to go up there, but not for a few more years. So good to see you on here, Carol. I miss talking to you. Would love to see you at an event, but then we haven't been having any events to go see. So hopefully that'll come around soon. All right, it's 10 o'clock and we can get started. I'm just so excited. And I don't know what a lot of you guys did during this COVID pandemic. I pulled out old workbooks, old seminar notes, and I started going through them. Because I've always heard, there's no new ideas. There's just new approaches to the ideas. And so I pulled out a lot of my old notebooks, and I came across this one. Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. I got to go to this event several years ago, and I have to tell you, it was completely life-changing. Hey, Amy Johnson, you should do this, Unleash the Power Within. So phenomenal. It was so incredible and so life-changing. And I started looking through the notebook, and I thought, oh, this is perfect for my women friends. So this month, I'm going to be doing something from this book each week. And the one I want to do today is a perfect follow-up to what we talked about last week. And that is your why. If you didn't take the time to write down your why, you need to write it down, because we can't ever get moved forward and embracing what we love if we don't understand and live in our why. So think about this. If you haven't written down your why, I want you to do that. Why do you do what you do? Because if you haven't done it, it's not going to help you with the rest of what we're working on. And I think this stuff is so powerful that I hope you will share these videos with other women in your markets. I hope you will invite other women to join us, because this stuff is that good. Oh, good, Vicki. That's wonderful. I just think it was such a moving event. But here's what I want to talk about today. What stops us from moving forward? What stops us from moving forward? And yes, Allison, I think we may have new whys. I have to tell you, mine has changed a little bit. Simply because I think your level of appreciation for the small things changes greatly based on what we've been through. So my question for you all now is, what stops you from moving forward? What stops you? What do you think? What stops you from moving forward? Anyone want to take a guess? Excuse me, the cat decided to join us. I'm at the barn because I didn't have time to get back to the house after putting the horses up. Now the cat wants to participate. Great. What stops you from moving forward? What stops you from moving forward? Fear. Thank you, Victoria. It is fear. You see, fear immobilizes us from taking action. It absolutely immobilizes us from taking action. And nothing can take fear away from us. Nothing can. The secret, and this is what I wrote down that Tony Robbins said, the secret is learning to use fear instead of letting fear use you. Now, there's two primary fears, and I'm going to repeat that again because I think that sentence is so good you may want to write it down. The secret is learning to use fear instead of letting fear use you. So, there's two primary fears, he says, and I believe this. One is that I'm not enough, And the other is I'm not loved. And I don't know about you, but I have or have had both of them. I'm either not enough or I'm not loved. And I think for each of us, what we have to do is understand how to process fears. This was my notes from that one page at Tony Robbins in Processing Fears. And he asks us 3 questions, and I want you to write these down. Number 1, what is my greatest fear? What is my greatest fear? What is my greatest fear? I want you to write it down. What is your greatest fear? Write that down for me, please, or tell us here if you want. What is your greatest fear? Now, when I talk in terms of fear, I have a list here. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of success. Maybe how do I handle the pressure that success brings and still operate at a level 10? How about fear of love or losing love? Fear of love or losing love. Fear of being alone, or as someone had mentioned earlier, fear of the unknown. Which one is yours? I'll repeat them again. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of success and how to handle that, fear of love or losing love, fear of being alone, or fear of the unknown. What is your greatest fear? Just if you think about it, whatever you acknowledge as your greatest fear, your brain functions to make you survive. So it's going to constantly be pushing you into that fear. Yeah, Victoria says, I will be broke, homeless, and can't provide for my children as a single mom. I can totally relate to that. I was raised by a mom who was raised in the Depression, and all she ever talked about was, because we didn't have any money, was that we didn't have any money. So I am so tight with my money. I am so afraid of spending money. Thank God, my husband and I make a good match because he'd spend everything. But it's great for me because it's hard for me to spend money. I'm so afraid of that. That's one of mine. Sadly, do you have more than one? Because I do. I absolutely do. The fear of losing everything. And what I wrote, though, when I was at the event was, my fear was really letting go. My fear was really letting go. And I think if I look at the fears that Tony had mentioned, I think it was fear of losing love. Fear of losing love was the big one for me, because I felt like if I let go and really was myself, I would be rejected and stomped on and not loved, because that was my life growing up with my dad. That was my life with my first husband. Because when you do that, it doesn't make it easy for you. So I want you to write down, what is your greatest fear? What Tony said was, don't fight that fear. Dance with it. Don't give it power. You be in control of the power. Don't give in to your fear. He says, what controls the quality of your life? We can't control the events in our lives, but we can control how we respond to those events. And I wrote this down all these years ago, and I heard it again last year and thought it was something new. Life is always happening for me, not happening to me. That's a decision we make. We decide whether or not we're going to be in control of our lives, or we're going to let other people be in control. And I'm really living this right now with my sister that's disabled, because she and her husband are having problems because he's having issues due to strokes mentally. And she had, for years, had just given her power up to him. And she was the strongest of the two of us always. And now, because we have them in separate places, she's learning to get her fear back. And watching her go through that process, and I would say that to any of you working to get that control, that confidence back, and letting life happen for her instead of to her, it's painful to watch. She cries, there's fear, there's highs and lows, just immense highs and lows. But in the end, she's going to be better for getting control of this. So, did you write down what your greatest fear is? Because here's question number 2. What benefit has this fear given you in the past? What benefit has this fear given you in the past? Well, for me, because my fear was really letting go and letting somebody get to know me, because I was sure that if somebody knew me, they would really not like me. So my benefit was protection. I protected myself, and I was certain, I had certainty about what was happening for me. Because if I didn't expose my emotions, if I didn't expose what was going on, then I'd be safe. What is it for you? What benefit has fear given you? I want you to write that down. What benefit has your fear given you? Because he said, are you focusing on the past, the present, or the future? I was focusing on the past. See, he said, it's not a pattern, it's you. It's me. I'm causing this. He said, there's 3 ways to master the meanings we create, because I was giving it meaning. I assumed that especially every man in my life was not going to treat me well. Therefore, I made bad choices with men, terrible choices with men, although I couldn't choose my father. That's another story. So he says there's 3 ways to master these meanings that we create. 1, the current way we use our body. Change the pattern of your movement. Change your face. Instead of always, and unfortunately for me, I wear my emotions on my face, and that didn't help me for many, many years. I can't change that part of me, but what I can change is my breathing, how I handle situations, my ability to stop before I speak, which I'm not always good at, but my ability to do that, I think, helps a lot. He said the second way to master this benefit that you're allowing this fear to give you is to consider the power of focus. Focus on the feeling you're having at the moment. Take a deep breath and push it away. It's not going to be away forever, but if every time you have that feeling, and I don't know if any of you have suffered from more anxiety over the last few months, but I sure have. Take a deep breath and push it away. Take a deep breath and push it away. He said the third way to handle this is understanding the power of the language, the meaning that we choose to give what we hear. I hear something, a good example. I felt like I've always had to fight to get speaking gigs in the company because I was a gal and not a guy, and it's kind of a guys club, which was really stupid on my part. And when I finally realized it has nothing to do with that because that's totally not Tom Ferry at all, I realized it just is what it is, and God puts me where I need to be for the moment. I was able to just let that go. Hey, Paige, loved your post the other day. That was so powerful, and good job on that listing. It's gorgeous. Okay, so number 2, what benefit has the fear given to you in the past? What benefit has the fear given to you in the past? So, number 3, why be free of this fear now? Why do we need to free ourselves from the fear that you have right now? For those of you that joined later, you might want to go back and watch this again. See, the meaning and the emotion of that fear you have controls your life. The reasons to have the fear, the reasons that we make it legitimate, come first. Then the emotions come, and then that begins to control your life. Consider that we have to understand, and this is what I love what he wrote, we must understand our why before we can move forward with anything. So as I said at the beginning, make sure you understand and you wrote down your why. Then I want you to do this process for me on processing your fears. What is your greatest fear? What benefit has it given you? And why be free of it now? And what I wrote, because as I said, for those of you that joined later, my greatest fear was really letting go and being loved. The benefit was I was protecting myself. It gave me certainty. But here's what's interesting. What I wrote down when he said, why be free of it now? So I can live a fuller, more fulfilled life. I want a fuller, more fulfilled life. And when I chose to stop this, and am I still this way? Absolutely. I have found it does not go away forever. But when it creeps back in, I have to go away with my husband and I go away on a short vacation. I have to get away and just process and get all of it out. We all have different ways of handling. For me, if I can get on the back of a horse and go for a ride, I can feel much, much better. So what is it for you? Now, next week, I'm going to go to another section of this amazing, amazing book in the program that I attended. Like I said, invite other people, other women to join us. Share this with other women in your market. Share last week's first because there's a series here. My thought is if we can get our head around the fears we have and the emotions we tie to them, I think we can be better wives, moms, sisters, daughters, business women, and that's my goal for all of you. Now, since I had to do the call out here, you want to see the baby? I'll show you the baby. Let's see if I can. Oh, he is coming up to the window. Yay. There you go. There's my Trooper. Hey, Trooper. He's losing all of his baby fur, which he needs to because it's hot. So this is his ugliest stage, unfortunately, but he's still beautiful. They say they're the prettiest at 3 months, and I think he will be. Well, looks like Trooper's going in for a drink. So I will let you guys go. Watch this again. Do the exercises. I love you, ladies. Talk to you next week.